Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the next segment of Advantage India Chemical Summit. I have with me Mr. Rajendra Gogri, CEO and Managing Director of Aarti Industries, one of the shining examples of a successful company in the Indian specialty chemical space. They've built a robust business model over the past decade and posted stellar growth. I also have with me Hardik Joshipura, CEO of InnovaSynth Technologies, to steer this conversation to understand the successful business model that Aarti Industries has created. Thank you, Mr. Gorgi, for joining us today. My first question to you is, can you elaborate on the key pillars on which your company's growth model is built?
Basically, we started the company in 1985 and it was a small scale, and then we went on a listing in 1992. And over the years, we had expanded our product range, and you see, basically last 10 years, things have really moved in favor towards India progressively. If you see the easternization, it took mainly in India and China for chemicals, not in Thailand or Malaysia or anywhere. And now, because the Chinese cost started increasing post 2010, the overall, Indian competitiveness increased in last few years, year on year, with environmental disruption also happening and all that. So that was a more macro scenario. And by the time 2010, we had built a very strong business model with integrated product line. 75% of our product, we are in a global top 3 to 5 in that range, and we could diversify in various end use industry across the world. We had about 50% exports, so that was another advantage we had at that time. By 2010, very strong customer base and also product portfolio.
You said, this primarily it started with this Chinese competitiveness. So even back in 2010, when you say that your foundation was really laid, was that, were you able to compete with the Chinese players, or it was the value proposition was something else?
No, we are one of the few companies who have been exporting to China for more than 15 years, maybe 20 years. Because the product line what we had selected was on an integrated line with a scale. Scale which was giving us an quite competitiveness, and based on that, in certain our product line, we used to export the product to China. So before 2010 itself, we had a very strong competitive business model where you could compete China in China as well as abroad.
Okay, and do you see that when you look at the growth, the growth strategy for your company in that segment, because your diversification is into our specialty chemicals, plus also a couple of APIs, which I'm sure you must be exporting and also for domestic purpose, and the CRO and CMO kind of services and the contract manufacturing. Which businesses do you foresee which is at a growth stage in next 3 to 5 years time frame?
We see both this pharmaceutical as well as specialty chemical. Pharmaceutical also we have substantially grown in last few years, both on API and some part of that CRAMS also. So this year, the pharma also will have about 200 crore EBIT. And with more Atmanirbhar and all, we see that good potential for pharmaceutical business also going forward. And specialty chemical, now there is a huge global appetite from India, because all this China plus one strategy, India is the only one, where the people want to more and more outsource the products. So chemical industry is the one industry I think it has got a triple growth drivers. One is that the Indian own consumption is going to grow There is about $45 billion chemicals are imported into India, and about $45 billion exported out of India. So there is an import substitution opportunity, as well as a lot of demand pull. So maybe one of the only sector which has all the three growth drivers going into that.
Mr. Gogri, I was curious to know about your backward integration strategy, because one of the rare things about Aarti Industries is, like you said, you chose a segment and a business model that could make you really competitive and compete even against China, so much so that you export. So how did you really go about building this, your value chain? Was it always clear to you that in benzene derivatives, if you had to cover the entire value chain, you had to have a fully integrated model to be competitive? Or did it happen piece by piece?
The important thing was to select the product. Product selection was not based on the customer side, that you could focus a particular end customer, and the people who want dye-step intermediate, you go on making for them. Or so our was a very selected, that integrated chain and select chemistry. So we selected a few chemistry in this integrated chain, like chlorination, nitration, ammonolysis, hydrogenation, and 7-8 chemistries, which we specialized in that. So, and then the products were sold at various end-use industries. It was not an end-use focused product selection.
Okay.
Products or selection was integrated and chemistry based, which could give us a expertise in the chemistry as well as the scale and the competitiveness. So that was the main model at that time, selected in that sense.
So going forward, I mean, you say you've been very careful about your selection of product or chemistry that you will focus on. So how much more growth runway do you see, and what kind of chemistries will you be considering, and where do you see opportunities, considering that a lot of things right now, China has a fairly high share. So I'm presuming that in a lot of chemistries, they have already become fairly competitive. So how does the lay of the land really look right now?
We look at the 3 points. One is where there is an import substitution possibilities, or where there is a global growth, or where the customers want to diversify from, because if they are only China dependent, they want to add one more source. So that is a typical criteria for sub product selection. And
but in terms of competitiveness, I mean, are we? I mean, even if they do a +1 strategy, isn't it imperative for an Indian company to be cost competitive to be able to capture that share? Or is that something customers are willing to take a slight compromise on?
No, you'll have to be competitive. That's where, the scale and the chemistry skills both become important. So you have to decide, what particular, we cannot make all the products. We'll have to decide, where you have a good chemistry skills and the scale, and focus on that line. So our idea will be to add more and more chemistry skills in our integrated chains. And now the buzzword is that they want supply chain independent of China. That anything and everything, should start from India. That is so that is where the company like us, who are totally backward integrated. Now the appetite, benzene, which is less than $1, people want from us $20, $30, $40, $80 product. Also, which will be 5 to 8, 10 step synthesis also. So that is the kind of appetite. So we'll be building on this our own intermediate and on more advanced chemistry going forward.
So Mr. Rajendra, I mean, when you talked about certain segments which you are focusing, when the same product might go into a pharmaceutical, it might go into a paint industries, might go into a different application. So from the growth strategy, or maybe expanding the customer base, how do you focus on it? I mean, you would probably focus on select customer base or key companies, and then you deploy your go-to-market strategy. I mean, what's the broader thought and strategy on that?
So integrated chain, we'll see what are the products further, are being manufactured and consumed in the world, and what are the customers, and based on that, then we move forward and then contact the customers. So that's how, we have a very strong base with all top agrochemical company, top engineering polymers company, pharmaceutical companies, and pigment, dye stuff. So because of this base, it becomes easier. Like who is our customer, whether it's a Bayer, BASF, Clariant,
Right.
DuPont, or Japanese company like Toray, Teijin, Solvay.
Okay.
And all big Indian names like UPL, Atul, they are all Sudarshan, they are our customers.
And one of the things, Mr. Rajendra, I was interesting to know about your CRO, CMO strategy. I mean, what are the thoughts? Because right now you're at a stage where you're offering the full-time equivalent or fee-for-service based chemistry services. But how about increasing or going upwards of the value chain in terms of high potent API contract manufacturing or antibody drug conjugate, or any idea or any thoughts in terms of moving into a biopharma segment, because that's a growing sector.
Yeah, that we are looking at, overall, bio side, whether it's biopharma or biochemistry or bioenzymes and all. So that is one sector currently we are also looking at it, that, whether this can be a good future growth avenue in that sense. And as far as the CR and all, we have both. We are our own API as well as a contract research. So that combination, our pharma team is continuously trying to see what can be the best opportunities there. Another important thing, what we had signed one contract, 20-year contract, where the customers gave us the technology, they also gave us the market, and they also finalizing the funding the project. So
Right.
this is a very unique thing in chemical industry, that capital cost in India is almost 50% of the capital cost in West or in US or Europe.
Very true.
Which is very rare, not under any other industry will have that, because here the chemistry matters rather than the equipment.
Right.
And a lot of fabrication, erection, piping and all. Because of that, the capital cost is very relatively much less. So India actually can become a
50% of the cost. Are you comparing it to the Western world, or like competing nations like China or Vietnam or all the newer outsourcing destinations?
No, it will be with the US, Europe, and Japan. But
Right.
Against China, maybe will be down by maybe around 20%. So we can become a very good manufacturing
You're
destination.
saying we are lower by 20% compared to China too,
Yeah.
in terms of capital cost?
Yes, because
Okay.
now the China labor cost is almost 2.5 to 3 times India. So that labor component, which is part of the project cost, is quite high in chemical. So there is definitely project cost advantage against China. But India can become a very good manufacturing destination for the global company, because India has got a lot of captive market also. So whoever wants to expand in US and Europe, they can be attracted to come to India. And that was one of the reasons why we could attract this contract, that they saw that there is a good advantage on the capital cost. And you need a good, strong partner who has a strong sustainable manufacturing experience.
So you were talking about focus on safety and environment. Can you just elaborate on that? I mean, what is it that you have done that is different, which makes it a better value proposition?
Yeah, in chemical, there will be two. One is the process safety and operation safety. The process safety,
Right.
we take it from the research step itself, R&D, to even when anything which goes to pilot, it has to go through the detailed HAZOP process, and in the piloting stage itself. Then from piloting to the commercial, all the HAZOP, hazardous analysis, and this entire detailing is done at the time of plant design. And corresponding automation, we have proper risk matrix. Based on that, the automations are also put in place. And while operating, chemical manufacturing is actually a discipline. It's not an agility. You have to follow very strict procedures. So what the procedure called management of change. So anything you want to do, there has to be proper set of procedures and do the detailed analysis. Then you have to have proper permit systems or job safety analysis, and all those very disciplined manufacturing culture has to be established at the ground level. So we also have this behavior-based systems in place. So continuous emphasis on safety and training on the jobs and all the risk associated with the jobs is a very, very ongoing practice. And there's an entire organization that culture becomes very important. That you have to be very, very disciplined in manufacturing and maintenance and all that activities. So two approach. One is on process safety and another is operation safety.
Sure. So how about after treatment? Because more and more pharma companies and also even regulatorily, both regulators and large companies are becoming more and more particular about how after treatment is taken care of. And the entire supply chain at every stage, they want to know how those standards are met. Now, how do costs for a company of your size in terms of environment really stack up? And the fact that I don't know where your plant locations are. One of the allegations is that we don't have a very strong industrial park culture where there is shared cost for after treatment and stuff like that, which makes it slightly tricky for India to put up these capacities, because the burden of these amenities fall on smaller companies, which often may not be able to spend that much on these things. What is your view, and from your company's perspective, how does this work?
Yeah, most of our plants are in Industrial Development Corporation, whether it's in GIDC, Gujarat or Maharashtra. But as a strategy, what we have done, I think 12 out of 15 of our plants are zero liquid discharge. So we are doing this internal system of bioreactors and reverse osmosis, ME and all that. So idea is to this from the common effluent treatment plant, sometimes which they are not able to operate fully well. And then your growth projects gets impacted. So as a strategy, generally we are trying to do is more move towards zero liquid discharge in our own facility.
And how does that impact the overall cost? Is it only at a certain size that it becomes viable, or how does it work?
Yeah, I think for that you need a scale that becomes important. So that's where we get a benefit that we are generally operating at a very sizable level. So we are able to put that all those infrastructure. Definitely it increases the capex and opex also, but it gives a customer supply security.
Right.
That you will not be impacted, because if the common effluent treatment plant or something else which is happening outside your own plant impacts you. So, so that balancing between supply security and the additional cost has to be done.
Sure.
There.
So do these finally, I mean, the objective is to also take that research to the next level into outsourced manufacturing for those products, etc. Is that the path that it takes, or it's?
Yeah, that is generally the path. We had done one contract which is for a 10-year contract. We actually we developed with them a specialty chemical intermediate for 4 years. They had the recipe, so we jointly developed, made a pilot quantities, and then they got the product qualified, and the entire manufacturing setup is being done by us in India. So our idea will always be to that, not just restrict to up to research only, but then go for also setting up the manufacturing facilities.
Sure. Any opportunities you see from the PLI scheme, and what are you hoping for in the next round?
Yeah, actually, pharma PLI scheme directly not, but indirectly it will benefit us in that sense, because some of the intermediate require some of the products which we manufacture. And we understand that government is also looking at chemical PLI scheme also.
Right.
Because a lot of imports of chemical which are taking place, which is actually hampering a lot of downstream manufacturing. in India. So once that comes out, the chemical PLI scheme, then we'll have the idea, how much that additional focus on that can be given by us.
Sure. I think that's just give us a sense of what lies ahead for Aarti Industries next couple of years.
Yeah, next couple of years, so whatever the projects which are currently under construction, they will get all commissioned, and it will start giving revenues, and whatever further R&D which we are doing, those projects will go on construction for the next 2 years. So looking at next 5-7 years, we see a good growth, 15-20% kind of a growth rate is definitely possible in our line.
The reason I asked is because last year some of the segments in specialty chemicals also got hit because the automobiles and pigments, dyes, all of these have taken a demand destruction has happened. So how far before these things claw back to pre-COVID levels?
In general, basically, if you take, this will take on an overall about 2 years of the world economy to reach to the original level. So different country might have a different, some country 2 years, some 2.5 years, 1.5 years. So that impact is bound to come. But the secular pull for chemical from India, that continues. So I think on a longer term, it will not going to have impact. But short term, obviously, that this year the sales have been impacted on all the discretionary spends, product going in your automobile or construction and all that.
Maybe one question on the competitor space. I mean, who are your closest competitor, and what differentiated strategy they are adopting, and which you are keenly watching?
Yeah, in India, because we have a very wide range of product, we don't have any specific single competitor. Globally, Lanxess is the one where we have some overlap of products with Lanxess Germany.
Right.
But within India, we don't have any specific competitor as such.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.